All right, hey y'all, because financial freedom, we all love the words, but it means something different to everybody. I would argue that probably most people love the concept of doing what you want, when you want, without being really tied to a job to pay your bills. My whole purpose on this channel is to instill in you that belief, get you excited about the future, that when you live in a free country, a market based society where you can save and invest, you can accumulate with discipline and time a massive amount of savings, investments, wealth that can provide for you a comfortable retirement. Now, I'm not talking about being the Jeff Bezos of the world's, the Zuckerbergs, and having billions of dollars, yachts, flying to Paris for dinner, for example. But I'm talking about security. And personally, right now, we're talking about a perpetual money machine. I came up with that term a long time ago. It's probably about 15 years ago or something like this. I've known about this. I've thought about it. I've read about it. It's one of my long-term goals. And it's mine and my wife's goal that we're aiming for with our savings, investments, and retirements. And it is that once we retire, we have money that we can draw from and provide for us forever. And this is basic math stuff we're talking about. And I was speaking with a friend many years ago, and I told her this, and she's like, you're talking about perpetual money, right? Well, that wasn't the phrase I would have come up with, but yeah, basically I am. And the idea is really simple. If you've got enough money, you can withdraw from it less than what the markets are typically going to go up and less than what inflation typically is going to be. And if you've reached that point, then your money is going to continue to grow. Even if it's slowly, it's going to continue to grow beyond what you're taking out of it. Perpetual money. Now, I want to run through the math with you today, and I want to show you just how possible this is. But there's two things you have to do to actually make this work in your life. I mentioned in my video about the top 3 personal finance books that I've ever read that changed my relationship with money, and I mentioned Your Money or Your Life. Now, this book is rather old now. It's extremely conservative, but the idea is the same. If you lower your expenses, you can save more money. And then it's easier to reach a level where your money is paying for your expenses, your investments are. Now, this is a very extreme version how they came up with it, but I'm not saying you need to live like a pauper. But a lot of this is your relationship with money, your thoughts about money. We live in a very consumer society where advertisers are constantly telling you, you've got to upgrade your house, you've got to buy a new car, you've got to have a new phone, look at the new type of TV that just came out. They're constantly trying to separate you from your money. And if you resist those temptations, you have more to sock away. They provide credit cards, they provide retail cards, they provide rewards points on cards. So please take this cruise and we'll give you $100 in credit, whatever it happens to be, right? Constantly trying to separate you from your money. But if you start making smarter decisions, if you start making more conscious decisions about how you spend your money, the amount you can save suddenly starts to become surprising. That car you've got, what if you hold it for a year and the payment you would have, you put it aside into a savings account? Why don't you hold on to your phone for another year? Hold on to your TV a little bit longer. Maybe downgrade your vacation. Take a vacation, but maybe downgrade it a little bit. More you save, and by save, I don't mean you went and bought something, you saved 10% because there was a sale, right? I mean actually save money in the bank, put into an investment, put into a 401k. The more you can save on your costs, the more you can put into the investment bucket. So think about it. If you have a standard of living that requires $100,000 a year in salary, you need much, much more in your investments to be able to draw down and pay that standard of living that you're used to. But if you're at a $30,000, $40,000 a year budget, you can pay your insurance and pay your house and pay your utilities and take vacations and feed yourself, then it's much easier to get to a financial freedom level. And that's what this is all about. This is not about quitting your job the moment you hit that point. This is about having that weight off your shoulders. Now, I'm going to do a whole video about my 3-bucket philosophy on really being prepared for a rainy day. That's coming up. But now I'm talking about long term. And so the second half of it, other than keeping your expenses under control and being very conscious about how you spend your money, it is about investing. Now, I talk about retirement plans, but those won't be available to you until typically 59 and a half. So you've got to have a mix of other investments in there as well if you want to think about retiring early. Retirement plans should never be ignored. They're incredibly important, and things happen in life. Let's put it that way. So you want a retirement plan, but you can build to that point. And everything I'm talking about right now is what's called the 4% rule. Now, this has been around for about 25, 26 years now. And the general idea is you can take 4% of your investment portfolio out, and it should last ad infinitum, right? If you have $1 million, you can take 4% out and live off of that. And what's left over should be enough to overcome inflation and continue to grow the actual pot of money on a year-by-year basis. So let's break that down a little bit. The 4% comes from, they ran a bunch of different stress tests to determine what it was. And actually the 4% has, they've come out and they've said, actually, it's too conservative. You could take a little bit more, but I'm kind of a conservative guy. So we're going to stick with 4%. It also makes the math really easy. So if the stock market increased somewhere between 7 and 9% a year, and inflation, it bangs around a lot. Okay, it really does. It can be 11%, it can be less than 1%, but it averages somewhere around 2%. So if you take that 8% of growth and subtract 2% in losses from inflation, you're left with about 6%. So to be conservative, if you take 4% out a year, all of a sudden you've got an extra 2% growth that's built in. Also gives you a little bit of an oh no fund if something goes wrong, especially as you get older. So let's switch over here. I'm going to show you just a basic calculator, what that actually means. All right, so we've switched over here to a calculator. This is just the one on my computer. Nothing special here, guys. And then let's say you have gotten your expenses down. And this is really helpful if you've planned on paying off your cars, and maybe you're even paying off your house by the time you're ready to retire. You could easily get your expenses down to, let's say, $40,000 a year. So that's what you want to bring home after the fact. Now, you're going to have to pay taxes on that, right? So let's say you're in a 20% tax bracket. Maybe you got a 5% state income tax. So this is only going to be 75% of what you actually need to take out. All right, so let's divide that by 0.75, which means you need to take out $53,333.33 every single year from your investments. But what is that 0.04 of? 4%. $1,333,333.33. So that might be a frightening number for you. 1.3 million. There we go. That might be a frightening number, but in my video on 401ks, I show how with just basic investing into a 401k with matching funds, you can get close to that number. And that's if you're putting in relatively the minimums of what would be required. Time is your friend, so the earlier you're starting, the longer your money is going to work for you. I believe anyone in America can become a millionaire, and if you've got time on your hands, you can, yes, become a multimillionaire. So just as another giggles, let's see, you want to have $100,000 a year in today's dollars. So you're still in that 25% tax bracket. That's $133,000 a year, and then divide by that, taking out 4%, you need $3.3 million. Entirely doable. So I just want this video to get you thinking that it is possible to have $1 million, $1.5 million, and have an income that you can live off of while your money continues to grow forever. So I hope this helps. I hope it inspires you. I hope it gets those old creative juices flowing. Please leave me a positive thumbs up. Give me a like. Subscribe to my channel and let me know a positive comment below. Appreciate it.